In this video, I'm going to be talking about some malicious things that people do to try to get access to your information on your computer or to harm your computer in some way. This video is going to be all about malware and phishing. And to begin, it's probably best to get a definition of malware because that definition is going to cover a lot of the things that we'll be talking about when we talk about people trying to harm your computer. And malware is a program that becomes downloaded to your computer. It could be software, it could be computer code, it could be a program that looks legitimate, that it looks like you want to download, that has some bad elements to it. And usually it's downloaded to your computer without you knowing it. So you go on a website, you download something that you're looking for, and attached to that something you're looking for is something that you didn't want. Software that you download to your computer that is disabling or damaging to your computer, or it slows it down to the point where it's less usable than it was before. And it can negatively impact computer users, usually with nefarious intent. So usually people are trying to either slow down or destroy your computer, trying to sell you something, or they could be trying to gain information about you, like your username and password to log on to some of your accounts. And if they do gain that kind of information about you, that could be really bad because hackers could get access to your bank accounts and have access to your money, or even just your financial records. Even maybe a little more benign than that. They could be intending to get access to your information, so like your browsing habits, and they're trying to sell you something. Regardless, malware is always bad because it always slows down your computer and uses your computer for unintended uses. Now, how does phishing relate to that? Well, phishing is an attempt by hackers to get information from you. Here's the definition of phishing. Fake email forms to discover usernames and passwords. So if you get an email from somebody you don't recognize, or it might even look like somebody that you recognize, and they ask you to enter your username and password, that email may be a phishing scam that's trying to get you to enter your username and password so that they can have your username and password to an account and log in as you to that account for, again, nefarious reasons. Now, phishing is a very specific type of attack that's sent through email, and it's a way of using a form to collect your username and password. I also want to include, though, other forms of email attacks that could happen. Like when you're sent an email that has deceptive links that look like you want to click on them, but when you click on them, it forces you to visit a web page that you didn't want to go to that may have some malicious code on it, or asks you to download something that you don't want that could be malware. Okay, so this is the framework of everything we're going to be talking about today. We'll be talking about malicious programs and how they could be delivered to you, especially through email. You always have to be on your guard when looking through your email account, even when browsing the internet, to make sure that you're not coming into contact with malware that can negatively impact your computer. We're going to talk about a few different types of malware now. And again, these types of malware can be delivered through web browsing to websites, from downloading things from websites that have unintended coding with them, or the one that we're really going to be focusing in on is through phishing attacks and emails that are sent to you that look legitimate but have things in them that you don't want on your computer. The first type of malware we're going to talk about is a computer virus. We're going to define what a computer virus is. Viruses are segments of computer codes and software that are self-replicating. That's the basic definition of what a virus is. It's a computer code that replicates and copies itself, and usually you get it on your computer by downloading something from the internet that has the virus code as a part of it. And you can download it by just visiting a website. Sometimes when you go on a website, you'll click a link, and all of a sudden this unexpected pop-up will appear. That link actually was asking you to download something, or through your email. by opening an email attachment or visiting a link in your email. A lot of time when people talk about malware, they use the words malware and viruses interchangeably, but it's just not the case that these two are interchangeable. Viruses are very specific. They spread themselves to the computer systems that are affected, and they replicate and copy themselves within those systems. So, for instance, if you get a virus on a computer that's connected to a lot of other computers, then your whole network of computers is at risk because if software is exchanged between those computers, the virus could be exchanged as well. And viruses are really good at copying themselves in ways that they're able to track through a network, and you need to have antivirus programs installed. But viruses are just one type of malware. There's really a lot of overlap between the types of malware, but there are some other types of malware that you should be aware of. Another type is simply spyware. Spyware is malware that doesn't necessarily have to be a virus. It's not necessarily replicating, but somehow you get this program, this code on your computer, and it monitors your computer use. Different types of spyware do different things. Sometimes spyware will just track the websites that you visit and communicate that information to somebody else who wants to know what websites you've been visiting. It might monitor the programs that you run in different program states on your computer. And maybe the worst type of spyware is a keylogger that logs the keys that you type. Keyloggers can be used to find usernames and passwords if people know the sorts of things that you're typing in your computer. Now, a keylogger logs every key that you type, and it might be difficult to find specifically where the username and password is, but that information may be out there. Now, it's important to note, not all spyware is necessarily nefarious. Sometimes employers will load spyware onto their employees' machines to make sure that they can track where employees are going using those machines and make sure that they are doing things on the internet that they're supposed to be doing for their job, not just shopping on Amazon all day. But that a lot of spyware gets loaded onto your computer through websites that you visit and has unintended consequences. So that's what spyware is. Related to spyware is adware. And adware is malware that actually collects information on your browsing habits. And the thing that makes it adware is it's intended to sell you something. It's intended to sell a product. So you probably have noticed this if you use Google Chrome or just Google within a browser, that you visit some websites, you're searching something that you're interested in, and later on you see ads appearing on your page that specifically relate to that thing that you were searching. And that's what adware does. It collects information on your browsing habits, runs in the background, looks at your website history, maybe tracks the sorts of things that you're clicking and typing, and then targets ads specifically to you. Now you can make your own judgment whether that's nefarious, but this is becoming more and more of an issue now that we have a lot of inputs that collect information from your voice. So if you've heard of Google Home or Amazon Echo, those devices are meant for you to talk to them and get information, like Amazon Alexa, what is the weather like today? Well, what people have found is that those devices are actually always listening. Even when you don't know that they're listening, they're still recording and hearing conversations that you have. So you may be talking to a friend of yours about a product that you're thinking about purchasing near your Google Home. Your Google Home hears that, and then later on, those ads that appear on Google may be targeted toward a product that you were just talking about. And there's a lot of controversy right now whether that's okay. Is it an invasion of privacy? What about your cell phone? Like, is your cell phone listening at times? And is your cell phone able to pick up conversations and target ads towards you? Is that okay? That's what adware is all about. Now, I just want to point out that much of the revenue that Google makes, the reason why Google's able to offer its search engine and its products for free, is because of advertising. They're able to target ads from companies that are specifically targeted toward people who are talking about and visiting links related to those things. And that's a very powerful thing that's easy to sell to companies, is access to your habits, your browsing habits, and your information. That's how adware makes money. I just want the last type of malware that I want to talk about makes money in a different way, a much more obviously criminal way, and that is ransomware. And the reason I bring this one up is because in May of 2017 there was a large ransomware attack. Maybe you heard of the WannaCry ransomware. And what that was a program that was accidentally downloaded through email. So this is an email attack. People would click on an email attachment. It would download this WannaCry malware to their computer, and what it did was lock down the computer system. It's designed to specifically lock down the computer system, and then it asks the computer user to pay a fee to the criminals who loaded the ransomware, who are responsible for the attack. It asks the users to pay a fee to unlock their computer. And here's the thing, just because you pay the fee, you transfer the funds, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to actually give you the code that you need to unlock your computer. Once they have the money, there's no real incentive for them to make good on their promise to give you your system back. Ransomware is a reason why it's a great idea for companies to have their systems backed up. So if things do lock down because of malware, they're able to recover everything that was lost. So these are the types of malware that I wanted to talk about. There are others. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are the ones that you will maybe commonly hear about or come into contact with. And I just want to point out, these are all different types of malware, and all of these different types of malware can be spread through phishing and other email attacks. Really, phishing is specifically geared toward getting your username and password through an email by sending out a fake form to you. These would be other email attacks. Links in emails that you don't really want to click. They look innocent, but when you click on them, it asks you to download something to your computer that is designed to make your computer run less effectively.